Hi, I'm Izzy, and this is Dizzy Quilts and Sews. In today's video, I have a pattern review, a bag pattern review of the Prada-Inspired Bag by Toby Styles. So I was really excited about making this bag, and this bag was in my February plans, and it was right at the top of the list. I really wanted to make this bag, and so I did. Unfortunately, it did not turn out quite as nice as I had hoped. Part of it was completely my fault. I would say a beginner bag maker. I've made tote bags and I've made a few small zipper pouches and things, but it was my first real handbag. And there were a lot of complicated details on this bag, even though it looks quite simple. So I would say a lot of it was probably my inexperience, but I would say that some of it is also the pattern and some of it is just the design. So some of it is just my own personal preference. So yeah, let's start there. So the bag or the pattern is for an intermediate level sewer. So that should have told me right there and then that it was not going to be as easy as I thought it was going to be. Also, at the very top of the pattern, the designer states that there's a sew along or a video tutorial available. And that should have been a clue for me to go and watch the tutorial, but I didn't. I watched it after I finished the bag because some of the pieces in the pattern I really just couldn't get. And so I watched the tutorial, which is not by the bag designer. It's from one of her testers, I believe. A very well made tutorial. So if you are wanting to make this bag, I would highly suggest that you watch the tutorial. In the pattern, there is a lot of assumed knowledge. So the designer assumes that you've made bags before, that you are an intermediate bag maker, and I thought there were just steps missing or skipped. For instance, in the list of materials, they say that you need foam. Based on the pictures, I knew that the foam would be for the main panels in the bag. But nowhere in the pattern does it say, now sew the foam to your exterior fabric. So I got to the point where I needed to sew the piping onto the bag and my foam still wasn't on there. So I'm like, well, do I do that now? Or should I have done that before? So there were a few places in the pattern where I was really scratching my head and wondering what I was supposed to be doing. Now I'm going to be looking down because I've got notes. Talking about materials. In the list of materials, it says you need a 1/4 yard of lining fabric, and this can be quilting cotton. I have a ton of fat quarters, so I figured 1/4 yard, fat quarter should be enough. Nope. So don't use a fat quarter. It really does say in the list of materials a 1/4 yard, so just use a 1/4 yard. Yes. Also, I found, and that's probably personal preference, I'm used to sewing with PDFs and indie pattern designers that have, super nice formatting on their patterns, and the text with the instructions is either to the side of the image or the graphic or really close by. I found the formatting of the pattern a little challenging for me. So again, this is personal preference, and that is a little bit nitpicky, but I figured I'd mention it. Pay attention, read every word, don't skip, just don't look at just the images basically and skip over some of the steps. Some of the images in the pattern are not at all for this bag. Like, they are not even remotely similar to the pattern pieces or to the fabric pieces that you end up with after you finish cutting. So I found that very confusing. It literally was, it looked like a copy and paste from another pattern. So for that step, and this is for the zipper pocket, the internal zipper pocket, if you watch the tutorial, it is way, way clearer. Yeah, some of the steps just weren't clear. And again, maybe it's due to the fact that I'm so inexperienced in bag making. So I'm not going to blame the pattern for that. I'm just going to take the blame on that. Like, I think you should have a few bags under your belt before you tackle this one. I love how she uses double-sided tape for the zipper installation on the inside. Oh my gosh, that made it so much easier. And I'll show you the bag in a minute, but the zipper installation on the inside was almost flawless, and it looks really, really good. So I loved her technique for installing the zipper on the inside pocket. What else? The piping. So I had all kinds of issues with my piping until I realized that my piping was just too big, too fat. So I needed to get myself some smaller piping, and I just did not have the patience to wait for it. So I figured in every single thing I've ever made that listed piping, it was always optional. So I figured it's probably not needed for the construction. It's more about a look thing or a design thing. So I just decided not to use the piping. All right, here's the bag. It doesn't look horrible. It's, you know, not bad. And like you can see, I didn't put the piping in, and it's fine. I have my Tula webbing. I loved how the strap ends go in. I could have put a rivet in here, like a silver rivet. It would have been really, really nice. I like the chain, which means that I can also use it and hold it like this. So it's not just decorative, but it's functional as well. I used a rainbow continuous zipper tape. Now this is one of the things I don't like about the bag. I don't like how the zipper looks. It's that simple. I don't know if it's my installation of the zipper, but you know, it's wavy. You can really see the tape. Even when you look at the bag sideways, you can see the tape. I don't love that. I really, really don't love that. And I was looking at all of my store-bought handbags, and none of them have a zipper like this. So yeah, I really don't like this. And again, this is per the pattern. I do love the tabs at the end where you put in your D-ring and attach the strap and the chain. That's a nice thing. Yeah, this was not a fun sew, and probably again because I don't have very many bags under my belt. It was very, very fiddly, very, very challenging. My machine though sewed through this faux leather and the foam and the interfacing like butter, so my Juki, no problems at all. But it's sewing the curves, and it's the zipper, and then yeah, my corners here, like the ends of the zipper, are definitely not perfect. I even have a hole up here, like it's not completely closed up here. Like I really struggled with finishing the ends, and the instructions did not help at all. Again, I just should have watched the video tutorial. The inside is really cute, so I used, again, silver metallic quilting cotton, and there's my zip on the inside. It looks really good and opens very nice and smooth. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look perfect. I'm actually tempted to just unpick the whole thing and start over using the tutorial. Like, just basically rescue what I can. I mean, the faux leather, once you put holes in it, but I have more of this silver faux leather, so I might actually give this bag another try. But I'm going to do some research in zipper installation. There has to be a better way. There has to be a better way of installing the zipper. It just looks... It looks sloppy. I don't like this at all. Like, at all. So, yeah. What else? What else? What else? Yeah. Overall, it's a good pattern if you have experience. It is not a good pattern if you're a beginner or you maybe have made like one bag in the past. Again, there are steps that are not described properly for a beginner, steps that are basically skipped because she assumes that you know what to do. The images are not clear. Some of the images don't even match the pattern pieces that you are using. I don't love the finishing on the zipper. And it was all a pretty tedious and fiddly sew. I will give it something though. It's a very quick sew. Like, I made this bag in one evening. So it's really, really quick. And who knows? I mean, if I make this again, it may go really a lot better. And, you know, I might end up loving my bag. But I do have to figure something out about the zipper because I really don't love that. So I'm probably not going to use this. One of the reasons is it's got holes in it. So, you know, I'd want to fix that. And yeah, it just doesn't look as good as I would want it to look. Now again, I want to be clear that many of the issues I ran into were probably my fault. Well, my fault. Due to my inexperience. An experienced bag maker may think that this pattern is super clear and very easy to follow. But if you are a beginner and you want to tackle this, definitely have a look at the tutorial. And she's got a link to it at the very beginning of the pattern. So have a look, follow the tutorial, a lot clearer and easier to follow, like step-by-step instructions. You can follow along. So there you have it, my Prada-inspired bag, which is a bit of a mess. But I really wanted to share it with you because so many of you were excited about me making this bag and were dying to see it all done. And you know how I am. I share the good, the bad, and the ugly on this channel. This is one of the uglies, unfortunately. But yeah, I am not defeated. I'm not defeated. I'm gonna try and find either a bag pattern similar to this or an alternative way of putting in the zip, one of the two. But I will make myself a silver bag this spring. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments box below. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please give the video a like on your way out if you liked it, and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks again, and I will see you soon.